Hello everybody, long time no see. If you've forgotten, this is The Big Hit, and I am your host, Tim Quigley. On today, we're going to bring you a half-hour show, and during that half hour, we got some NCAA football on hand. Who dropped out of the top 25 polls? Who's on upset alert? And who does better in the SEC, Texas A&M or Mizzou? Also got some Pirates talk. Do they finish above 500, or even better, the playoffs? You have to find out and stay tuned. But for right now, kicking off the first segment of the Big Hit 2012. I've got on my far left Josh Carney, in the middle Ashley Leister. This is NFL football. We call this segment the First Cut. All right, well, let's get right on into it here. If you missed it Sunday, the Steelers had a game up in the mile-high city of Denver, Colorado, where, if I'm not mistaken, they lost. Unfortunately, they lost. Right now, Josh, give me a short little recap of that game. Give me some reasons why the Steelers lost and why the Broncos won.
Reasons the Steelers lost. Again, they cannot defend the pass. I know they're missing Ryan Clark, who's probably the best free safety in the game outside of Ed Reed. When you miss him in the middle of the field, that just opens up the entire field for the opposing team. And then again, offensive line, they could not stop anyone. Von Miller, I think, had 3 sacks in the final 4 plays. That's ridiculous. And you lose Marcus Gilbert. Second quarter, I believe, you have to put in the rookie Mike Adams. Yep. It's the same thing as last year. Secondary and the offensive line. It comes down to it. You thought they had it fixed, and obviously not. I think this week will be different against the Jets, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, don't be giving away the end of the segment already, Josh. I mean, there's such thing called as a teaser. Oh, forget communications terminology for that. But Ashley, what did you see in the Steelers-Broncos game?
2 words. Peyton Manning is back and is on fire. He looked for his old receivers that came over from the Colts, and he hit those wide receivers most of the time. And the Steelers D really couldn't play too much at all. They gave up way too many yards. They had 330 yards, and most of them were 240 yards passing. So the D needs to get a little bit better.
D needs to get a little better. Passing game, certainly, and Josh, touching on what you said, Ryan Clark is a big absence there. I mean, because that allows Paul Miller to creep up on the line, actually show blitz, and actually confuse something. Peyton Manning actually had a drive like that. Towards the end, he had that timeout. He actually had to call a timeout and a delay game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Well, Polamalu was still himself. He was up on the line. You know, he was wreaking havoc in the backfield. He was all over the field. But when you leave Ryan Mundy, who is nowhere near the level of Ryan Clark, you leave him back there in the secondary by himself and having to defend, those weapons that Peyton Manning has. I know they're underrated. Guys like Eric Decker, Demaryius Thomas, some tight ends like Joel Dreesen. You can't do that. You can't leave Ryan Mundy back there by himself and expect him to stop all those guys. Keenan Lewis really disappointed me. I know he predicted a Pro Bowl season. Mm-hmm. I don't see that happening. I don't see him starting the rest of the year. He got bullied by, smaller guys. He got called for a pass interference late in the game down at the goal line. It led to a touchdown. What are you doing? I mean, you come out and talk this big game, but then you can't back it up. Yeah. And nothing has changed from the Steelers last year. As I said, the secondary was horrible last year. They seem to be horrible this year. And I know they were playing Peyton Manning, but still, come on.
The only thing that really changed was they got older.
Yeah.
And their D, I feel like their D hasn't gotten any better. I mean,
no.
It progresses along as the season goes, but they need to start out strong and end strong, not start out slow.
Peyton Manning was just going to town against them in that no huddle. He was just schooling them left and right, and he even ran for 7 yards on a quarterback keeper.
Peyton Manning ran.
Peyton Manning ran. He is back, people. He's healthy. Be afraid.
You already touched on my next thing I'm
Sorry,
going to ask you. That's what happens when you send the content out a few hours early. You got everybody trying to jump ahead. My next question is Peyton Manning, if you didn't hear already. You may have already touched into it. Give me a little bit more. What did Peyton Manning do with this offense. And is Peyton Manning back?
Absolutely, he's back. He makes those receivers out there a whole heck of a lot better. Eric Decker could be, one of the best young receivers in the game this year, at least because he has Peyton Manning throwing to him. Demaryius Thomas, again, stretched the field against the Steelers. I think he had, a 73-yard touchdown catch on a, pitch and catch. He ran, I think, 70 yards.
That quick little slant.
Yeah. Demaryius Thomas came back to kill the Steelers again. And Peyton Manning is definitely back. I think the Broncos are second or third best team in the AFC as of right now. They are deadly. They have a good defense. They get to the passer. They defend the pass. Tracy Porter, had a pick six. Reminded me of the Super Bowl a couple years ago when he took Peyton Manning pass back to the house. But this team is very dangerous right now.
Well, not only that, but the one drive, I remember he was coming down the field, and I think it was 2nd and goal, and Troy Polamalu came up to the line like he was going to come in and rush, but Peyton came up and he changed the play.
Yep.
So, he's back. He can still tell the D, pick apart the D and everything else. His numbers show that he's back, and I'd be very afraid of him right now.
Yeah, he's back.
Peyton Manning's back. And with that, we're going to go from a certain Hall of Famer to another game where there's a quarterback debuting who some say could be a Hall of Famer.
Who, Anthony Shearer?
Maybe. Well, Anthony Shearer thinks this, but we'll get a... Oh, wait, sorry, I'm even skipping ahead of myself. As it says on the bottom there, we got the game preview, Steelers and Jets. Sorry about that. I want to get ahead with the show. I'm all excited. I'm totally forgetting content. Just give me real quick, what do you expect from this game?
I expect the Jets to not put up 48 points again. That was a complete shock. I expect to see Tim Tebow in this game because Mark Sanchez will get hurt. James Harrison will play in this game. Will probably tear his head off. There's no way the Jets are going to beat the Steelers. I'm saying 21-10 Steelers.
I actually have the Jets beating the Steelers because the Steelers' D needs to step up and prove themselves. Mark Sanchez can still play his game, so I see them winning. I'm not sure what score, but I see them winning.
We'll see.
To break the tie, Steelers 21-14.
Nice.
Mark Sanchez doesn't do anything in this game like he did against...
The Jets played the Bills.
Exactly.
The Bills, who lost their number one running back. Again, C.J. Spiller stepped up. But it's the Bills. Come on.
Yeah. All right, now moving on to what I wanted to get into is the game
there we go.
For the team on the other side of the state. That's the Philadelphia Eagles, barely pulling out the win, 17-16 in a fourth quarter. I know you're laughing, Josh. Don't rip into my team too hard. But were the Browns that good on defense, or the Eagles' offense just not synced up right now?
I believe that the Eagles are just that sloppy on offense. They cannot have 4 interceptions at all to get the Eagles anywhere on offense. Not only that, but all the penalties in the first half, that cannot happen. You need to be on the key for the game, and they were not on key.
Yeah, I think it's the Eagles' offense not being up to par, and together in sync. I mean, when you have weapons like Deshaun Jackson, Jeremy Maclin, Jason Avant, and then LaShawn McCoy out of the backfield, who in my opinion is the best running back in the game, and you only put up 17 against the Cleveland Browns, that just means that you're not ready. I mean, they played 2 of the final preseason games. I know they're preseason, but that third preseason game that the Eagles played, they played without Michael Vick. That's huge. I mean, you have to use the preseason to get ready for the regular season, and with him not playing, that doesn't help the offense. I think this week will be much better. I don't remember who they're playing this week. I can't remember off the top of my head. The Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, I think
interesting.
We're getting into that later.
Oh, sorry.
Ashley, anything else to add up to that?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Well, Michael Vick was throwing the ball almost 60 times there. Definitely can't have that. The other quarterback of this game, Brandon Weeden, Anthony Shearer's favorite player. If you don't know anything, he's an old friend of the show. 5.1 QBR. I think 18 of 34, 4 interceptions. Does he?
115 yards?
118.
Yeah.
118 yards. Give Weeden some credit here. He had an awful game, but do you think he rebounds?
No. Brandon Weeden, as I said last year, he's a system quarterback. He threw the ball, quick slants to Justin Blackmon and handed off to Joseph Randle at Oklahoma State. He doesn't have those weapons at Cleveland. I know Trent Richardson, he's going to be a good running back in this league. Brandon Weeden is a system quarterback. I've been saying that since day one. I said that about Blaine Gabbert. I'm still sticking to that. They're system quarterbacks. The Browns don't have the system to fit Brandon Weeden. I think Brandon Weeden will be a bust. You will see Colt McCoy as the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns by the end of the season.
I actually have to agree with you. I mean, he can't play like this if he's going to think he's going to start for the rest of the season. He has to come in and be accurate, and it's not going to happen.
Four interceptions, and all of them were horrendous. He threw a ball, underthrew it so badly that Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie picked off. I've never seen a quarterback underthrow a receiver that bad. It's ridiculous, and he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. Good luck. Good luck. First-round pick, remember. That's a bust.
Words to live by, Brandon Whedon from Josh Carney. Good luck. But anyway, let's preview the Eagles' next game here, as Josh, as you wanted to bring up earlier, against Baltimore. Quickly now, who wins? Give me a score.
I still think it's Baltimore. After watching the game last night where they just whooped the Bengals 44-13, I think they're going to shut down the Eagles again. I'm saying 31-10.
Ouch.
And I also have Baltimore winning probably 27-17.
I don't want to say this, but
Say it.
Go with the Eagles?
I can't. I don't want to be an absolute home here. I got to go Baltimore by a last-second field goal. I got to give my team some credit here. But when we return, don't turn the dial just yet. We got some MLB coming up with the Pirates and a couple other teams coming up here. See who we're going to talk about next.
Today I'm going to talk about Patty. Patty's best characteristics, she's stupid. Stupid and ugly. Everything she does is ugly. Watch her eat. Watch her stuff her face. Look at her. Greasy hair, dirty fingernails. It makes me want to vomit. Get a life, Patty. Thank you.
We're Steelers fans. I'm a Steelers fan.
And we're Steelers fans. We're good sports. I'm a good sport.
I'm a good sport.
We always have
a designated
designated driver.
Steelers fans.
Steelers fans don't let fans drive drunk.
Responsibility
Responsibility has its rewards.
Responsibility has its rewards.
Go, go,
Go
Steelers!
Go Steelers!
Go Steelers!
Go Steelers!
And right now, welcome back to the Big Hit, segment 2, Gridiron Talks we like to call it. And I'm joined by the oh-so-famous former host, Mike Nicastro, and a good friend on the end, Freddie Mitchell. Guys, just get right on into it here. Major weekend here in NCAA. What are you guys talking about here?
Continue.
The kids, okay. Anyway, major upsets here in NCAA football over the weekend. If you didn't miss it, UL Monroe quite possibly pulling off the biggest upset of the weekend against formerly number 8 ranked Arkansas. Freddie, I'll pass it on down to you first. Recap the game, and do you agree with the statement that this was the biggest upset of the weekend?
Hands down, it was definitely the biggest upset of the weekend. The Warhawks just played better D than the Razorbacks, and UL Monroe, they made plays in the clutch when it mattered. At the end of the game, that quarterback had a nice run, caught back there. And I think they beat Arkansas. It's not like they got lucky on some lucky play, got a fumble and won. They beat them. They won.
They beat them, they won.
Well
Straightforward, yeah, great set. I don't know if I could have said anything better. Nicastro, let's see what you got to say.
Yeah, I'll give it an attempt. Listen, Arkansas was a team that came into the season obviously very highly ranked, started at 7th. Tyler Wilson, their quarterback, junior quarterback, coming off a very solid sophomore year, a guy that had some Heisman credentials, a player that maybe we thought we'd see in New York at the end of the season. Well, unfortunately for Arkansas, he goes down at halftime. Didn't play in the entire second half. Sure, you could look at that as maybe a reason they ended up falling in this game to a huge underdog, obviously, in Louisiana Monroe. But the defense, game was 28-7. Arkansas absolutely running away with it in the third quarter. And then Louisiana Monroe started to creep back. It ended up obviously going to overtime. You can't blame Tyler Wilson for the poor defense by the Razorbacks. You mentioned UL Monroe's quarterback. For some reason, I'm forgetting his name right now. I had it in my head. Clayton something. I think he had 500 total yards in this contest. Arkansas, an SEC defense, going against a team that hasn't won a game in Division I in 5 years. Against a Division I FBS team, I should say. This is an upset of mass proportions, Tim. I don't think we'll see one this big. I don't know if the rest of the season.
Might not see one the rest of the season. I don't know about that. We'll probably get into that one.
It was a 28-point spread before the game.
20-point spread. And it was a good play, too, at the end, too. I mean, Arkansas brought that full-out blitz on them. The quarterback just managed to pull a spin move and
nice
16 yards into the open end zone.
Really, 2 great plays. At the end of the fourth quarter, if you were watching, down 7, I think a 4th and 1 at their own 23. Just a miraculous touchdown pass over the middle for UL Monroe and kind of a Merry Christmas type play, and then the 4th down in overtime to give them the win. good for the program. Can't take anything away from them, although Arkansas's defense certainly was not up to par.
Definitely not up to par. And we're going to keep it here on Arkansas a bit. As I said before, formerly ranked number 8. Guess where they are now?
Out of the rankings.
They're out of the rankings. Biggest drop-off
Ever.
He's even completing my sentences now. Freddie's going to be the next host here, apparently. Nah, forget that. I'm doing this for the rest of the semester. But anyway, is it fair to say that Arkansas deserved to drop out, or should they still be in the top 25?
It's questionable. I mean, there was 3 key injuries in the game for Arkansas, but, I mean, it was UM roll. They lost 2. They dropped a couple spots, I guess. I don't know. Coaches said what the coaches said in the AP pool, whatever. I mean, they dropped out. It is what it is. Can't change it.
No way, Freddie. I think they should have fallen out, not just the top 25, but if there was a top 60, top 70, they should be past that. Like I said before, you just can't have that happen. At home, if there is a silver lining for Arkansas, which is tough to find, is that they still haven't dropped an SEC game, obviously, on the year. They still have a chance to pile up some SEC wins, but by the looks of it, with that performance against Arkansas, they have Alabama upcoming this week.
I think Arkansas is going to be fine in the long run. They'll be fine in the long run. It's one non-SEC game. They're still going to be there at the end of the year.
But it certainly hurts their national championship potential.
Absolutely.
Obviously, everybody knows that you just can't drop a game in football, in college football these days, to a team with that low of a final RPI, to use an NCAA term, NCAA basketball term. It's going to be tough for Arkansas to come back, and maybe they'll show something next week against Alabama. They are at home, but for me, I think Bama rolls. But we'll get to that. That's neither here nor there, Tim.
That's it. Yeah, definitely a hard game for Arkansas to come back against, I believe, now number 1 seeded Alabama. And
Yeah,
you know who else? As we're talking here, dropping out of the top 25. Guess who else dropped out of the top 25? We've got Nebraska, Wisconsin, and Oklahoma State. How do you guys feel about those 3 dropping out?
Pick one.
Pick one. Let's look at Wisconsin. I think they were overrated a little bit coming in. They were 13th. They lost a lot of their coaches to the NFL. They lost a lot of players to the NFL. It's a lack of talent now. I think they're a little bit overhyped, and so they lose. I don't know about dropping out of the top 25, but maybe 10 places or so.
Yeah.
What do you got?
No, I agree, Fred. I'm with you on the Badgers. I don't think I've ever called you Fred. But Wisconsin, this really showed their true colors in this game. Danny O'Brien, the quarterback who transferred from Maryland, playing in his first game, really struggled, was outplayed in this game. And Monty Ball, their outstanding running back last year, who put up mind-blowing statistics, broke Barry Sanders' rushing touchdown record for Division I. I think he had 15 carries for something like 55 yards. The offensive line for Wisconsin was really dominated the entire game. Kevin Zeitler, as well as Peter Kahns, their offensive guard and center last year combo, both gone to the NFL. That obviously has shown. And real quickly, UCLA knocks Nebraska out of the rankings. UCLA quarterback Brett Hundley, maybe one of the biggest stories of the first 2 games in college football. He's put up just mind-boggling statistics. I think it's 8 touchdowns, somewhere around 170 quarterback rating. I don't know. College football, you can have a 9,000 quarterback rating. I don't understand any of those freaking numbers. But regardless, Nebraska, I don't think their falling out of the top 25 is warranted. That was a tough matchup. Rose Bowl is a tough place to play, and UCLA is a good team.
Yeah, definitely with that one. And let's change gears a little bit here. We'll go back to the SEC. SEC welcomed 2 new members over the weekend, Texas A&M and the Mizzou Tigers. Who has the better chance to succeed in the long term of this conference?
In the long term, I think A&M, they have an overall better football team, better program, better history.
Yeah, they definitely have a better history. Missouri, probably not the same kind of prestige as A&M, but this is a tough one for me. I mean, I watched the A&M game this weekend. Their quarterback, Johnny Manziel, he looked great in the first half. He's a redshirt freshman. Then Florida made some adjustments.
A&M looked wonderful in the first half. They just fell apart in the second half. They didn't score any points.
He looked like Steve Young in the first half, the way he was throwing, dodging defenders, making great plays with his feet. And in the second half, he looked like Steve. He was my neighbor. He's probably sitting on a couch drinking an Arizona iced tea right now. Texas A&M is going to have some growing pains. They're kind of in a transitioning period under Kevin Sumlin, the new head coach. So I think in the long run, Texas A&M will have more success. But Missouri, I think better this year. James Franklin, the better quarterback of the 2.
All right, I'm going to go with A&M on this one. I just think being there in the state of Texas, one of the better football states in all the country, plus being in the better conference, of all the conferences in the NCAA is going to favor them. I look for them to be better in the long term. Real quick, guys.
He likes it hot.
Huh?
He likes it hot.
Real quick, guys. Tell me who's on upset alert this week. Give me one game and tell me who's going to be on upset.
I've been waiting to hear this.
Upset alert. I have Alabama on upset alert. Look out. Arkansas is going to try to come back.
Wow.
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 Upset alert. Here we go.
That is an incredible pick right
Who do you
there.
got,
I am
Castro?
shocked. I certainly do not have Alabama on upset alert, so we might have to make a side bet after the show or something.
cool.
We don't condone gambling here. My team that I was picking, a lot of cupcakes again for the top 10 this week. How about Texas? Texas goes into Ole Miss this weekend. They're working with a 2-quarterback system right now, David Ash and Case McCoy. It kind of hasn't worked thus far. A name for you to watch, Bo Wallace, Ole Miss's starting quarterback. They're 2-0. I'm a big fan of the SEC, Freddie. I like watching their football. I mean, obviously they've won 1,000 championships in a row. I can't talk anymore. I got to give it to you. But Ole Miss might shock Texas.
All right, well, you heard from these two guys. I don't know if I agree with their upset picks. But you know what? Up next, we're actually going to have some MLB talk. I know I said that before, but this time I actually mean it. So stick around.
Good teaser.
Personal foul? Inactive activities on a glorious day. Huh? Let's get out there and play!
Sweet.
Ooh, freeze!
When do I get to be in? Uh-oh.
Hey, Reggie, frozen people can't talk.
P-L-A.
An hour a day.
I'm in. There are lots of great play ideas online, but don't stay too long.
I'm a big believer in the power of we. We can tackle the tough challenges we face and build community through service and volunteering. It's time for you to raise your hand. Go to serve.gov and get involved in something you believe in.
How will you raise your hand when they call your name?
Are you with me?
We weren't born to follow.
And welcome back to the first edition on the Big Hit on the one and the only IUP-TV. It's time to talk some Major League Baseball, and I'm joined by my very good friends, Kyle Pillar on the far left in that dashing purple, Brent Warfel in the middle with, I don't know what kind of color that is.
It's got purple, though.
It's got purple, though, so I'll give him that.
It's dashing either way.
Dashing, yeah, that's the key phrase of this panel up here. We all look dashing. Anyway, let's get right on into it here, guys. Like I said before, one of the teasers I said was we got some Pirates talk.
Right.
And right now, they're very, very close, still, to a wild card spot here. Kyle, do you think they can finish above 500 and take the wild card spot? If so, give me why. If not, tell us why.
Well, you know, Tim, it kind of looks like that the wind is out of the sails of the Pirate ship this season. They went on an extremely great tear earlier in the season, well through the All-Star break. They looked really good, but I'm not going to give them the postseason nod just because they're only 2.5 games out of St. Louis for that second spot, which is new this year. But at the same time, you got to look at what's happening. A.J. Burnett could have been a 20-game winner. He's not going to reach that this year. They're 2-7 in the month of September and 2-8 overall in their last 10 games. That's not going to cut it. You have to look at the Pirates. Last year we saw the epic collapse of August and September. This year the collapse of September. Maybe next year they finally make it to that point where they collapse in October. I don't know. But like I said, the pitching's been decent. You have Burnett, who has really trained James McDonald. But the main fact here is that the Pirates' batting has really cooled off. Andrew McCutchen at one point was batting in the 370s. He's cooled off to 341. He's still leading. I believe he's still second in the NL right now for the batting title. But you know, when you guys, I also look at it as why would you break up a team chemistry that was winning? You get rid of Casey McGee, you bring in Chad Qualls, and I'm thinking, who's Chad Qualls? He had a terrible first appearance with the Pirates. But overall, I think, you know, I don't think they're going to finish above 500 anymore. They're 72-68. They're on the verge of losing tonight in their second game on the road in Cincinnati. It's a tough blow for the Pirates fans, and certainly, you know, you always say there's always next year, and that just might be the case here.
I don't know if I'd say hold off the next year, but you know what? I'm the host. What does my opinion matter?
Well, just the fact of the matter is, it's just you look. The Pirates came in. I believe the teams that they played, their combined winning percentage was like 476, which was like the second easiest schedule after the All-Star break. And look, they lose 3 straight to the Cubbies, and they only took 1 out of Astros against the Astros. So.
I'm going to go ahead and agree with him. I think that the Pirates have a lot going on. They've obviously progressed in the last 2 years, but this season, I think, like he said, they're running out of steam, and there's other contenders in the mix. You got LA, Milwaukee, and Philadelphia within 5 games of the wild card, and I think that the Pirates just don't have the bat and the pitching to withstand all of this. I think they will make 500, but it's going to be 1 or 2 games. I don't see them going anything further than that. But I think you got to, as a Pittsburgh fan, I think you got to take it as they're climbing that ladder. I think they're going up from here, and you really have to question the trades that they made. You're taking a team that was winning, and you're just going to break it up like that. I don't agree with that move.
Well, I want to agree with both of you here, but I'm not. I say the Pirates finish above 500 and take that second wild card spot. You gotta believe, Pittsburgh.
Hey man, I would love to see it. The city of Pittsburgh could use that boost.
It would be good to see, but I don't know.
You gotta believe. That's all I'm gonna leave it at. You got to
Coming
believe.
from a Phillies fan.
Yeah. Hey, Phillies made that comeback a couple years ago.
Yes.
So you know what? Believe it'll happen. Moving on. Enough of believing with the Pirates. The Orioles and Yankees are only separated by, get this, 1 game. In the AL East, whoever thought of Baltimore being on top of the AL East? Do you guys think they can pull this off, or do the Yankees hold off the surging Orioles and take the AL East crown?
Well, I think the Orioles could really make a run here. They're 78-62 this season. I will say that I'm on the Buck truck, as they're calling it, with Buck Showalter as their manager, Brent. And I just really think that they can make a run. I mean, it's only 1 game, and in baseball, 1 game is so pivotal. I mean, it can mean everything. It can mean nothing. You have to look at the Rays. They're approaching. They're only 2 games back of the Yankees right now. The Orioles are 6-4 in their last 10. They had a good series against the Yankees not too long ago. But one thing, Nick Markakis, potentially done for the rest of the season. I believe he has a broken thumb or broken hand, something of that nature. That's a huge loss. He was a big bat to that lineup. So I'm gonna say the Yankees still win the division, but the Orioles will certainly make a run.
I agree with you. I think the Yankees are going to take the division, but with the Orioles and the Rays right behind them, and I think the Orioles and Rays are playing tonight, I believe. I think that's going to be the deciding factor for the wild card. I think the AL East is all the Yankees. With Mark Teixeira being out, that hurts the Yankees' batting lineup and everything, but they got enough depth and everything to make sure that they clinch the division and get it done. And I think it's going to be the Rays in the wild card. I don't think the Baltimore is going to have what it takes.
You guys touched on it. Nick Markakis, Kyle, you actually touched on this. He had a broken thumb.
Right.
Thanks to Josh Carn, I just got an update here. As we're taping this show, Jason Hamill, 4 innings pitched, has to leave the game with an apparent lower body injury. So that's another blow to this Orioles team. I want to see them come back and win the East, because that would just be one of the greatest stories, one of the best stories of the year.
Yeah. I'm a Yankee fan,
well,
Tim,
we know
so
you're a Yankee fan, so I have
that.
to disagree with you, just because of the fact you're a Yankee fan. Sorry, my brother is too, so sorry to my little brother. But Baltimore comes back, wins the East. Maybe the Yankees can take wild card than the Rays. But the AL East is going to be dominant for the next couple of years.
They always are. Always are. With the fall off of Boston, Baltimore stepped right up there.
And the surging Blue
Jays. Boston could go either way, though. I mean, it's a disappointing season in Boston, but I think that they have what it takes. Well, they did make that big trade, though, so you never know what could happen.
They did make that big trade, but keeping it in the D.C. area. Actually, we're going to go to D.C.
Hop on the Beltway.
Hop down the Beltway, as Kyle said.
It's the Beltway series.
It is the Beltway series. But the big news out of Nationals camp is that they shut down ace pitcher Steven Strasburg after 159 innings pitched. What do you guys think of this? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Or is it the best thing to do? Or do you leave him in there?
Yeah, Tim, you kind of hit the nail on the head. He had 159 and 1/3 inning pitched. And their goal all season by Davey Johnson and GM Nick Rizzo, Mike Rizzo, they had said when he reached that 160 inning mark, they were going to shut him down.
Actually, it was supposed to be 180.
180?
180.
Well, he's at 159. He's done. Call it kaput. He's done for the season. But here, I agree and disagree. But you have to look at this guy. He's supposed to be the next phenom coming in the major leagues, and he proved that in his first season. 14 strikeouts, his first appearance. Health is the main issue here. I mean, it's the same. Health seems to be overcoming all of pro sports, and certainly it's the right decision. I mean, Strasburg this year was 15-6 with a 3.16 ERA. So, I mean, he definitely proved that he was able to win and lead this team. They're 34 games above 500 right now. But the factor is, I think Gio Gonzalez, he's the first pitcher to 19 wins this season. I really think that the reason why they pulled Strasburg was because they knew this team can win.
Yeah, I think they're thinking future here. This is obviously their franchise guy, they did the right thing with getting him to Tommy John and giving him all that time to heal up. And this is procedure. I'm sure this is what the doctor told him to do.
Right.
They're doing it the right way. They want this guy to last. They want him to be out there for years to come. And I think that if they do this right, then we can see more of Steven Strasburg in the playoffs, and he can get those wins for the Nationals. And they are taking a big win possibility from the playoffs that they have, but you got to look at long term, and this is the best move for Steven Strasburg.
I disagree with both of you. You do not shut down your best chance to win because you think he can get hurt. You shut down Jason Worth with a broken wrist because you think he can get hurt.
I mean,
you shut
you just
down
got in this
Gonzalez
day and
because he
age.
can get hurt.
This,
You got to
this
trust
day,
the doctors.
In this day and age, it's all about money and health. I mean, money more than anything. But look at football. Look what they're doing with health issues. I mean, you break your fingernail, you're out for a game. You know, just the way it is. It's procedure anymore.
He could lose that elbow forever.
Actually, I think that after that it's the shoulder. But you know, we're going to have to continue this. Next time I'm being told to wrap it up. But that does it here for the Big Hit. Make sure you catch us every Wednesday through Friday, 10 o'clock here on IUP-TV. For Director Jess Owalk, producers Josh Carney, and Kyle Pillar, who's even down here on set. Everybody in the back, everybody on cameras. I'm Tim Quigley. I'll catch you on the flip side.